Hello, happy Monday. Hope everyone's having a great evening. Time to go live and kind of hang out for a little bit. Give some folks a little bit of time to get on. Looking at my notes here. I'll hang out for a minute or two just to give everybody enough time to log on and join. We're going to continue our talk on nutrition today. And today we're going to talk a lot about diet protocols and why they work, why they might not be for you. You know, we talked last week a lot about some myths behind, eating breakfast, protein, carbs, really looking at those. So if you haven't listened to that one or watched that one, I really encourage you to go back and watch that one. This week, we really want to tackle some protocols, because one of the things that I hear all the time is, hey, Chris, what do you think about X diet? And everybody in the fitness industry hears that. So that's nothing new. And you can go online, you can go to this wonderful website, www.google.com, and learn a ton of information, right? But you have to be careful, because sometimes those websites that pop up first might not always be the most truthful. And we see that in our industry, and it's frustrating, but it's the truth. So what I wanted to do was come on tonight and really talk about three main methods: keto, vegan, and carnivore. Because those are still the three that are absolutely the most popular or most talked about right now. And within that, there are other subsections, I'll put it, that some people take and run with. When you go online and you look at some of this information, you will see, like I mentioned earlier, some websites, some documentaries, some celebrities, etc., promoting these certain eating protocols. And, you have to eat this certain way. It's the best for you. It's the best for everybody. And right at the get-go, right at the beginning, if you hear that should send up some red flags, okay? Should absolutely send up some red flags, because one specific eating plan or method does not fit every single person. And the studies are pretty conclusive on that. So if someone is telling you everyone should eat like this, I would politely thank them for their time and turn around and walk in the opposite direction, quite frankly, because it's just not true. We see that a lot. Hey, Noah. So let's break that down a little bit more. And I want to tackle the hot topic right now, veganism. Okay, the abstinence of animal products, right? And there was a documentary on veganism not too long ago that was on Netflix and was very, very, very well done. It was a great documentary. And I use documentary in air quotes because it's not really a documentary, right? Documentaries typically have viewpoints from both sides. But despite that, laid out some really interesting points on the benefits of some type of plant-based method or the abstinence of meat and animal products. The problem with that documentary is it was funded in large part by makers of non-animal based protein powders and supplements, and was also funded by proponents of veganism. That obviously causes a little bit of an issue, right? So we have to watch documentaries like that with that antenna of caution. So we got to be real careful when we see those. The next part about what they really claimed in the study, in the film, is the improvement of health that most people see when they eat that way. And I don't think you can argue with some of the numbers. People lose weight, their blood markers improve for the most part. They feel a heck of a lot better when they eat that way. But one thing you have to consider and you have to think about is they're not eating at Burger King and McDonald's every day. They're not going to the buffets. They're taking a keen interest in what they're eating, and they're eating better foods. Okay? So you have to take that into consideration. And when you eat whole foods, what happens? You eat fewer calories. When you eat fewer calories, you lose weight, right? And when you lose weight, generally speaking, most of your blood markers, most of your health indicators improve. Animal-based broccoli. Is that an Ireland thing? If so, you may have to ship some of that over. I would love to try that. So being a vegan is perfectly fine. And there are countless people who have plenty of success on that type of eating protocol. But be very careful if someone tells you that it's the number one best way to eat. You have to eat this way. It'll improve all of your health markers. Because the health markers, like I said, generally improve when you lose weight. You generally eat fewer calories on that type of diet. Now, if you're a performance athlete, this doesn't necessarily apply to you. I would absolutely not recommend a vegan based diet, but that's for another topic. Now let's shift into, on the complete opposite side of the spectrum, carnivore. Carnivore is exactly like what it sounds, and I'm sure there'll be just as biased documentary coming out soon about carnivore. It is nothing but meat. Okay, I think technically there's some eggs, maybe some cheese, maybe sprinkled in there a little bit, but it's primarily meat, primarily red meat, okay? And depending on which camp you look at, some proponents say it's nose to tail, which is literally everything, nose to tail. And some say it doesn't really matter as much. And for every, like I was talking about earlier, for every vegan that you've heard talk about all of the health benefits and how much better they're feeling and how everything is improved, you see the same thing with the carnivores, okay? So we look at what's the commonality, besides both of them being, well, I keep my opinion to myself. Both of them are generally eating fewer calories. And most importantly, they're eating better quality of food. So if they're eating better quality of food, naturally they're going to feel better. They're probably going to lose weight, and then all their health markers improve. Thanks for joining. So I personally don't worry about, oh, you come for my opinions. I'll give them to you later. Stick around. I'll tell you what I really think you should do. But carnivore has that same problem where, people believe that just this style of eating is the best way of eating for every single person. And there are a few studies that may suggest it is very good for some people, but that doesn't mean it's necessarily good for you. So you've got to be real careful with where you're getting your information from, okay? Including here, Fact Check Me. Go to that wonderful site I told you about earlier, Google. Tell you everything. So anyway, carnivore, I would shy away from that as well. Yeah, there are plenty of studies suggesting, fat, eggs, red meat aren't necessarily as bad for us as we've been led to believe, especially if we don't cook them all the way. But let's be careful eating a 100% meat-based diet. So real quick, I'm going to touch on keto because it's kind of similar to carnivore. Keto diet was very popular a few years ago, still is kind of popular, and for good reason. Again, most people who jump on that bandwagon, they jump on the keto diet just like carnivore and vegan. They're eating better quality of food. They are generally going to be eating fewer calories. So what happens? They lose weight and everything improves. They start feeling better. They are, their health markers are improving. But keto is basically a high fat, moderate protein, low carb approach. So you're eating a lot of red meat, cheese, butter, olive oil, some red meat and chicken obviously in there. But you're really focused on the fat content and keeping that protein pretty moderate. And generally, again, when people see or hear that, yeah, it's a hard no. When people hear that style of diet, they're usually going to think eggs, bacon, sausage, and cheese. That's all I'm eating. But they forget all the vegetables. That the vegetables along with the meat is pretty beneficial and a pretty nice way of eating. But again, all of the health benefits are because you're eating fewer calories, okay? So high level, hey Cheryl, whether you go keto, vegan, carnivore, if you heard the kind of common theme between all of them is this: you're eating better quality food, you're eating whole food, probably going to lose weight, and you're going to feel better. That's the big takeaway. Hold on. Let's see. 100% puff food diet. I would not condone that style of diet. Sorry. I can't do that. Funyuns. I have not had a Funyun. I could not tell you the last time I had a Funyun. Now I kind of want one. I don't think it's necessary. I don't think it's wrong. But let's think about food quality. Okay, that's well, if you're consistent with it. Food quality is more important than anything else. So stop what? I think it's perfect. Whether or not you're eating one of those style of diets, if you're picking good food quality, you're going to succeed. okay? Big picture, okay, that being number one. Number two, you really have to look at your goals, okay? As I alluded to earlier, if you're a vegan, quite frankly, I wouldn't, if you're a performance athlete, I wouldn't put you on a vegan style diet. Now, ethical, religious reasons, yes, we can absolutely work around it. If you have none of those, I wouldn't put you on one, okay? We see a lot of the sports stars, NFL stars, athletes, performance athletes that go to that style of eating style, generally, I've said that like 20 times in 10 minutes, generally have a decline in performance. And you can look at all of the studies, okay? But it can be done. You just have to be very careful with it. Same thing if you are a performance-based person or maybe body composition. I personally would not put you on a 100% carnivore style eating plan. If your performance, because you're not getting any fiber, you're not getting any of the nutrients, the micronutrients from the vegetables. We need those. We've seen that. A lot of studies have shown that. If you are a performance athlete, it really depends on the type of performance, whether or not I would put you on a ketogenic style diet. And let's look at some of your other markers and if your physician is comfortable with it. Okay? What I generally recommend for everyone, okay, is meat and vegetables. You really can't go wrong with that at all. For example, my dinner, actually I'll take you back, my lunch today, because I practiced a little bit of intermittent fasting today, and I do that from time to time. I talked about that last week or the week before. My lunch today was a big bowl. My head's pretty big, so it's a big bowl full of mixed greens. Threw a bunch of mixed greens in there. I cut up a bell pepper, put that in there. About 3 or 4 strawberries, a huge handful of blueberries, walnuts, sliced almonds, and then almost 2 full-size chicken breasts that I cooked last night in the Instant Pot with salsa. And my youngest daughter, because all 3 of my kids were home tonight, or they were all 3 home today because President's Day and winter break. My middle child, my daughter, looked at me and said, I think that salsa chicken in that salad with the fruit and the nuts is going to be kind of gross, but I don't know. It was delicious. Take an Instant Pot, a can of salsa, and a couple of chicken breasts, cook it for like 15 minutes. It is awesome. It's perfect. Tonight, I had about a pound of ground beef, and then I take the Normandy style, you can kind of see Normandy style veggies, frozen veggies, and I'll cook these in the microwave with a little bit of water on them for about 5 or 6 minutes, and then I douse them in salt and a little bit of olive oil. So for me, I don't necessarily, it almost sounds keto, but it's not. I eat a lot of carbs coming from veggies, and my fat intake isn't really that high. But if you can eat protein in the form of meats and then veggies, you're going to be good for just about everything, okay? All right, let's see. Kind of click on this question. There we go. All right. Thoughts on ideal cuts of meat, lean proteins, fish versus red meat. So, okay. This question of fattier cuts of beef, pork to chicken breast or salmon. So it's a really good question. And next week, one of the things I want to talk about is how do you actually lose weight versus how do you actually gain weight, right? Everybody always wants to know, just tell me how I lose weight, right? Hey, Mark, I try to break it down real simple okay? And I've told some people this before. Quite frankly, it's calories, right? It's calories in versus calories out. It just is. There are some extenuating circumstances. We know that. For the most part, unless you have some kind of health-related issue that your physician is monitoring, okay, and there is something serious that you're worrying with, the two big things you need to worry about when you're trying to lose weight or gain weight, well, not gain weight, lose weight, total calories and total protein, okay? Carbs and fats we can play with. What that means in relationship to that question, as long as your total calories are fine, pick the better tasting food that you like. Okay? And if you're counting your calories, just pick the fewer calorie option, the less calorie option. Okay? The other way of exploring that is if you know, okay, I'm definitely going to have a baked potato or a sweet potato tonight, maybe some rice. If I'm going to do that, then I'm going to go for the leaner protein. If I'm going to do just meat and veggies, I'm going to do the fattier cut, okay? But no, that's a great question. It really, for the most part, it doesn't matter too much. It doesn't matter that much. So, okay, that's a really good point, a really good question. And I think that probably applies to everyone, right? I don't really know how much protein, and I just make it real easy. Just make it real simple, break it down, make it as easy as possible. Because I don't want to cut, or I don't want to have to count. I get it. Okay. Obviously, there's options here, right? You can use your fist or your palm for your size of protein. Think about it like this, Vaughn. This may help you. If I put a bag of delicious Doritos right in front of you, right? Could you eat the whole bag? Probably. I could. They'd be delicious. I would love them. If I put 6 steaks in front of you, or 5 chicken breasts in front of you, could you eat all of them? Probably not. And the takeaway from that is, when it comes to protein, you're probably not going to overeat protein or overeat it by much. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. As long as you're getting a good portion of protein at every meal, you're okay. Let's see. Yes, so there's some interesting studies out here recently. Well, number one, if you can handle not cooking your meat to well done, I think personally it tastes better. But there are some interesting studies coming out about how overcooking it continuously all the time might not be the best health option. Now, I say that, let's not major in the minors, right? I would rather you eat a well done piece of steak than go and eat something from McDonald's. Okay? All right, Cheryl, let's see. Hatch green chili roasted on the grill. Ooh. Oh, garlic and onion are fantastic, especially if you can stomach them. Some people have a problem with garlic. I like that. I'm gonna keep that and try that. They do put all the best tiny bits on the bottom of the bag, 100%. But, big picture, if you, and we're going to wrap all of this up in the last week, which is that next week? Yeah. Next week's the last nutrition talk. We really well done. Well, again, I am okay with even it being really well done instead of eating a pizza or going to McDonald's or something like that. Thanks, Cheryl. So yeah, it is okay. Now, if we're comparing really well done versus medium to medium well for the same thing, I would go with the medium well. But some people can't do that. I know. Yeah, you're right. Let me take a step back. So like I said, I'm going to be wrapping all this up next week, but there are a couple of overlying principles that I'm going to be tying together next week with this and last week's talk. It really does come down to total calories, and I'm going to make it really easy for everyone without doing a bunch of calculations. I'm going to give you an option for counting your calories versus not counting your calories. Get ready, because I am going to suggest to everyone that watches this to count your calories for a week, at least. Just try it. You will be absolutely amazed at how many calories you're actually eating. They either might be a lot more than you think they are or not as many as you think they are. And when you count them, you need to weigh, don't measure. We weigh our food. It's much more accurate that way. And perfect examples are peanut butter. One serving size is 32 to 33 grams, depending on the style. And that's also 2 tablespoons. But it's not really 2 tablespoons. Weigh it and see. Oatmeal, half a cup, is not really half a cup when you weigh it, okay? So I really would recommend you start doing that at least for about a week to see kind of where you are. I use MyFitnessPal. I think that's the best one, but I've heard good things about Lose It. I think they're both fine. But again, we'll tie all this back together next week. Next week is going to be interesting because I am planning on doing this at the same time, 6 p.m. Eastern time. I will actually be in Los Angeles. So stay tuned if I need to move this a little bit. But I will be coming back to you next week to tie all of this together with a little bow on nutrition, what we need to do to lose weight, a couple of tips and strategies to do to lose weight, and then tell you how to gain weight also. Hope this has been helpful. And then March, we're going to go into exercise. So the whole month of March is on movement, types of exercise, what should we do, how often should we do it, how much we should change it up, okay? So be on the lookout for that. So that's coming too. Love all the questions. Love all the interaction tonight. I appreciate you all. Carb manager. Okay, that's another good one. Especially if you're looking at it from that angle. That's a fine way to do it. I really like to count total calories and total protein. Those are the two most important, and then carbs and fat would be under that. Yeah, it was really nice. It was nice here in Chattanooga too. Nice, pretty afternoon. I've been talking for about 30 minutes. Hopefully you got something out of this. It's about time for me to give my kids a bath, so I'm going to do that. I'll be back on later. I'm going live on Instagram at 9 Eastern with kind of the same topic. Portugal. Get out of here. You fancy. And I'll be talking about this again. So if you've still got questions or comments, whatever, put them below. Send me a DM. That's why I'm here. Happy to help. Love y'all. Have a great night.